Right now, you are the only kind of human on Earth. That sounds obvious. Of course you are. What else would there be? But it is one of the strangest facts about you, and it is brand new. For almost the entire story of humans, it was not true. For most of that story, if you walked far enough, you would have met other people who were not your kind of people. Not another tribe. Another kind of human. They had fire. They had tools. They buried their dead and painted on cave walls. And they were not us. So here is the question nobody thinks to ask. There used to be so many kinds of human. Where did all of them go? Think of the word human, and you picture one thing. One face, one body, spread across the world in a billion small variations. One species. But go back far enough, and human was not one thing. It was a family. A whole branch of the tree, with many twigs. Scientists still argue about the exact number, because deciding where one kind of human ends and another begins is genuinely hard. But a fair way to say it is this. At least 9 different kinds of human have walked this planet. Probably more. There was Homo erectus, who tamed fire and walked out of Africa long before we did. There was Homo habilis, one of the first toolmakers, chipping stone into an edge. On one Indonesian island, there was a tiny human, barely over 3 feet tall, with a brain about a third the size of yours, that scientists nicknamed the Hobbit. On another island in the Philippines, a different small human that we barely knew existed until a few years ago. In a South African cave, another kind again, whose bones were found deep underground, and no one is sure how they got there. Some of these you could have looked in the eye. Some you could have stood next to and known instantly that they were people, just not your people. For a long time, the world was full of humans, just not only our kind. That is the strange thing to sit with. Being the only human is not the normal state of things. It is the exception. It is new. 2 of them matter most to your story, because you got closest to them. The first you have heard of. Neanderthals. Forget the cartoon. The dumb, hunched caveman grunting in a fur is wrong. Neanderthals had brains as large as ours. They made tools, controlled fire, cared for their injured, and buried their dead. In 3 caves in Spain, there are red paintings on the walls older than 60,000 years, made before our kind had even arrived in Europe. Which means the first artists in that part of the world were probably not us. They were them. The second, almost nobody had heard of until recently, the Denisovans. For years, this entire kind of human was known from almost nothing. A single finger bone from a girl, found in a cave in Siberia. That was it. No skull, no skeleton. But there was DNA inside that bone, and when scientists read it, it did not match us, and it did not match Neanderthals. It was someone new. A whole population of humans revealed by one fragment of a finger. Here is the part that is easy to say quickly and hard to actually feel. These were not humans separated from us by millions of years. Their time and your ancestors' time overlapped. As recently as 40,000 years ago, our kind was walking the same cold landscapes as Neanderthals. In some places, we lived alongside them for thousands of years. Picture that. 2 kinds of human sharing a valley, watching each other's fires across the dark, hearing sounds that might be language or might be something older, knowing that the people over there were like you and also, somehow, not. We do not know what they thought of each other. Fear, maybe. Curiosity. Both. And when 2 kinds of human meet over thousands of years, something predictable happens. They do not just trade tools and stare. Sometimes they fall in love. Sometimes they have children. We know this for certain, and we know it in the strangest possible way. We can still find the evidence. It did not survive in a cave. It survived in you. But first, the sad part. One by one, every other kind of human disappeared. The Neanderthals faded out around 40,000 years ago. The Hobbit on its island around the same time. The Denisovans somewhere in that long window. until the branch that was once a whole family of humans had been trimmed down to a single twig. Ours. Why? This is the honest answer, and it is not a satisfying one. We do not know for sure. There is no single villain, no one dramatic event. When scientists model it, the likeliest story is a stack of pressures landing on small populations at the same time. The climate was violent and swinging. Their numbers were already low and scattered, which makes any group fragile. Our kind was spreading fast, using the same land, the same animals, the same shelter, maybe just slightly better at it. Disease may have traveled with us. And every time one of them had a child with one of us, their small, separate population got a little less separate. Not one blow, many at once over a long time. Enough that the others thinned out, and we did not. So that is the story you would expect. The last kind of human standing, alone at the top of an empty tree. Except that is not quite what happened. Because the others did not entirely leave. Remember those children. The ones from when our kinds met and mixed. Their descendants kept living, kept having children of their own. And every generation, tiny pieces of that other DNA got carried forward, quietly, all the way down to now, to you. Most people alive outside Africa carry roughly 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. It is not a metaphor. It is real genetic code from another kind of human, written into your cells right now. And for people whose roots trace to the Pacific, to Papua New Guinea or Aboriginal Australia, there is a second layer on top, several percent Denisovan DNA. The finger bone people, still here. It is not the same for everyone, and that part matters. People with mostly sub-Saharan African ancestry carry much less Neanderthal DNA, though because of ancient migrations back into Africa, it is not quite zero either. The exact mix is different depending on where your family comes from. But the headline is almost unbelievable, and it is true. The other humans are not entirely gone. Some of them are inside you. And these pieces are not just dead luggage. Some of them do things. High in the mountains of Tibet, people live and thrive at altitudes where the air is thin enough to make most of us sick. The gene that makes that possible did not come from our branch of the family. It was inherited from the Denisovans, an extinct kind of human, still helping people breathe today, tens of thousands of years after the last of them died. Think about what that means. A kind of human vanished from the earth, left no cities, no writing, almost no bones. We only know they existed at all because of a sliver of finger and the code hidden inside it. And yet, a piece of them is still doing a job right now, inside a living person, on a mountain, helping them breathe. Someone who has never heard their name is alive a little more easily because of them. That is not extinction, not really. Not the clean kind, where something is here and then simply gone. It is something quieter, a handing over. So, what happened to the other humans? The easy answer is that they went extinct, and we won. But that is not really what the evidence says. The truer answer is stranger and softer than that. They lived alongside us. They met us. They had children with us. And when their world ended, they did not fully disappear. They were folded in, carried forward, absorbed into the one kind of human that was left. You are not the last of many. You are made of them. The whole vanished family. All those other ways of being human did not just die out. Some of them became you. So the next time it feels lonely, being the only kind of human left, remember, you never really were. You are carrying the others home.